Mom, Dad, I'm not throwing shade, but the whole New Year's resolution thing, kind of slipping, no offense. Anyway, my best friend Jenny's dad, crushing it. He uses Blue Apron. He says he ordered one-pan assemble and bake meals and these things called meal kits. They're all super easy to make. He keeps yelling, protein and fiber, baby. Also, the food, we tried it. So good. So maybe check it out or whatever. Blue Apron. Get 50% off your first 2 orders plus free shipping with code LISTEN50. Terms and conditions apply. Visit blueapron.com/terms for more.
All right, Daniel, we have Manchester United victory to talk about. That was pretty special in parts.
Oh, yeah, that was all right. I mean, I'm tired. I went to the discotheque last night. And do you know what? You won't know what because you live in Seattle. So what they've done in Edmonton is IKEA has closed,
right?
Presumably just because it's not getting enough people in it to justify having one in Edmonton and one in Wembley, when if you really want to go and you can get to Edmonton, you'll just get to Wembley. I don't know if that's why, but they've put a nightclub in the old IKEA, except it's literally IKEA with some speakers. It's revolting. They have made no effort whatsoever to make it not like IKEA. So you have to walk through bare car park to get in. It's cold. There's no proper shitters. It's all like port cabins and just everywhere. Like going anywhere is a mission. If you want to go to the toilet, that is a hassle. If you want to go to the club, into the music room, any of the music rooms, that's a hassle. But yeah, I hadn't been to the discotheque, well, apart from last Sunday, for quite some time.
Well, apart from the last week when I was caning it.
Yeah. I mean, so last week was excellent. We saw, it was an Amapiano night and we saw Mafariza and Major Leagues, either of whom I recommend. Last night we went to see Camel Fat because one of my mates was going. So we thought, fuck it, let's go. He then bailed and we still went. But yeah, it's still a rave in IKEA.
Nice.
It's totally IKEA-like, except they don't even have the greatest pick and nick in London, which actually they got rid of after COVID. They have good bags of sweets.
Yeah.
If anyone is into like sour sweets, what they do that's really cunning in IKEA is they'll do you a bag of sour sweets, but in it there'll be just ordinary jellies. So they just give you that little bit of texture and flavor difference and variety that really elevates the citric acid.
I mean, that's exactly what I was thinking about when I go to IKEA. I think I mentioned it before, that one in Wembley is the most anger-inducing IKEA on the planet. Not only do you have to wait like hours to check out with your fucking Billy bookcase, but it's impossible to actually find because you have to, like, there's a spaghetti junction of roads you have to navigate to actually get there in the first place. I hate it. Hate it with a true and deep passion that only comes from trauma of having to actually go to that place. But I'm not sure I'd want to spend a whole night there sat on your sofa with a J and sticking drinks on a Billy bookcase. But there you go. On the pitch, that was quite special from Nacho, wasn't it? 3 minutes into the game. Wasn't expecting that. It was almost like a cross between Rooney's one and Berbatov's one, in that it's sort of a more similar angle to Rooney, but it feels like the way that Berbatov's against Liverpool, he kind of placed it into the corner. I wouldn't say he placed it, but he did sort of cushion it. Yeah.
So that it described that parabola. And it wasn't just like the ball's in the air, he vaults up and he smashes it and sometimes they hit. It felt like there was a little bit more control there. And the move before it was good as well.
Yeah. The eyes on the ball the whole time with that one. And he hits it clean, unlike Rooney, who shinned it. So
he did shin it, but the reason it went in was because it was still a pure strike in the way that he lined it up.
Yeah.
So it did go in off his shin, but it hit the fucking sweet spot, like right in the middle of his shin. And so the foot wasn't quite at the right level, but because the strike was so clean, it was still good.
He could have had a hat trick, really, because he missed another good chance where he cut inside and then basically had a free shot with there were a few Everton defenders between him and the goal, but really good opportunity, and he blazed it over. And then the one at the end where Rashford pinged it across, and he couldn't quite get across enough to get it in, but definitely had some good chances.
We said, I think after Copenhagen, that it felt like he'd been given the chance in his position from the start in the big game on that night, and he played well enough to keep that spot. And so because you have that interesting line where the managers have between you want competition for places, so you want players to know that if they play badly, they're out. But at the same time, you want players to have the security of not thinking they've got to do something spectacular to keep their place. And what you end up, I think, in the best teams, you generally end up with most players know that when the big games come, they more or less know who's going to be playing. And you sometimes run over into that comfort zone. England cricket have done it a couple of times in the times where they've been good, where players just sort of stay in the team too long. And what you would sometimes end up with is Paul Collingwood did it for a while, where you're just about to get dropped, and then you score like a battling 70, and you stay in for another 6 tests or whatever. And you don't want that either. But I mean, they always say in the cricket team, their line was always, it's better to give someone one game too many than one game too few. Mm-hmm. And I think with Garnacho now, he's in the team, and he's good. It would be pointless dropping him and saying he's crap from the start, because it's not about that. Like, he needs to play to get better at playing from the beginning.
Yeah. And the sacrifice is putting Rashford on the right, except Rashford's not really scoring this season, so it's not much of a sacrifice. It's just, can you get Rashford back into his best form if he's going to be playing out there? I mean, today there weren't very many options. I mean, Anthony not in the squad, Sancho not in the squad. It's who else is missing? I feel like Højlund also missing. So fewer options, but yeah, Garnacho had enough moments in this game, both good and bad, but good enough to stay in the team. I mean, the player who really stood out, who we've talked about quite a lot, unbelievably, the saviour, the boy wonder, Kobbie Mainoo, was just maturity beyond his years, obviously. He just so much class there. And it's not just that, it's the balance he brought, his ability to just drop in between the centre-backs, allowing the Lindelof and Maguire to split, and just United to have more options.
I wish they fucking would split.
Yeah, I know. Have a pair ever been together that long and still been that dysfunctional? So it was. But Kobbie Mainoo, I mean, we've talked about him a lot. He's obviously a class above, and probably didn't play the full 90 because he's not fully fit yet, but was excellent for most of it.
Yeah, I think as partly he might not fully fit, and also he's playing on Wednesday,
yeah,
and he's playing on Sunday.
Yeah.
It's Saturday, isn't it? In games that we got to win, or at least can't afford to lose.
Yeah.
And what I love about him is, I remember Gary Neville once said that Scholes and Carrick playing with them in front of you was relaxing, like going into a restaurant, I think, and hearing some classical music playing on the piano or whatever he fucking said. I don't know. But what I like about Mainoo is I know that when he gets the ball, it's all right. Obviously, every player makes mistakes, but he is unlikely to drop a massive bollock. But not only that, he'll do the right thing with it. And the way that he does it, and you've said before that he's mature beyond his years, and it is that. He plays like a grown-ass man. And usually when you say that, you're talking about someone being physical. But with him, it's the angles that he makes to receive the ball.
Right.
And when he receives the ball, the touch doesn't necessarily go in front of him. It might go off at an angle if that will give him the best angle to play the next pass or to move away with the ball.
Yeah.
Like Scholes had that.
Yeah, exactly.
Scholes and Xavi and Busquets.
Yeah.
Those kind of players have that. And he's got it because he's got it. And he's also got that beautiful weight of pass and the delay on the pass and the intelligence to pick the right one almost all the time. And I know as you said, we've been banging on about this dickhead for so long now that you're waiting for him to fail almost, except we both know that the quality that he's shown, it doesn't look like that's going to happen because the stuff that he has is so easily translatable.
I love the way that everything just seems to have that amount of time, and it is that Scholes Carrick thing. There's something about both of them in him that he takes everything on the half turn, knows how to create space for himself, even under pressure, and then makes the right choices just almost all of the time. And it'd be kind of foolish of us to big him up too much and pretend that he's going to save us or something. But it's just, again, it's that balance. The fact that you have someone there. He's not really a 6. I mean, if you look at him with the under-23s, that's not exactly how he plays. He did today, and he was excellent there. I mean, he made, I can't remember the data now, but a fair number of challenges. He's made 40-yard passes, interceptions, the whole thing. It's a really well-rounded game he's got, and he rightly should be in there ahead of Amrabat, who's really shown us nothing in that role. Casemiro, I don't know whether we'll ever see him again, because who knows? He's out till the window, and you never know, might do some business there. So Mainoo's got a really good chance of cementing a long-term place in the team now.
I was really pleased he played today, because if you're not going to play him now, when are you going to play him? What are you waiting for? Like I talk about this all the time, that sometimes it's the right thing to do to integrate players slowly, and sometimes they're just good to go, and you just got to pick your best players. And I'm pleased he did that with Mainoo today. And because also with Casemiro out for so long, it would be mental not to try and manage him out at the same time. And that doesn't mean I'm saying you crap, sell him to Saudi tomorrow or whatever. Although you'd obviously think about some kind of offer clearly, but not. And that's again not because he's not useful. It's just because you're going to have to sell him at some point. And if you sell him now, you can do something with the money I get, and you'll get more for him. And he's not a part of the future of United, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But playing Mainoo, you said just before that he's not exactly a 6, and this is also one of the things with him, that part of me watches him and thinks this guy's too good around the box to be that deep. But we saw he got some good opportunities to get on the ball in attacking situations, and I think that's why the player that realistically we're probably going to sign someone to play with him is someone who you'd sort of want to be able to do like a 6-8 hybrid, because what we saw in the game today was, in the first half, Bruno was way too deep. And that's because you've got McTominay, who doesn't really do anything.
Yeah.
He's not there. He's not there to do anything. He's there to hope for the score. And Mainoo's ability to drop in between the defenders is exactly what McTominay can't or doesn't do. And United have been very easy to press for years now. And if you've got Mainoo, and then you've got Martinez to come back, what you then have to do is you have to get a right side of the defence, because teams will still say, all right then, well, you've still got
the ball
whoever
there,
it is.
Yeah.
Varane and Wan-Bissaka, let's say, it doesn't even matter who it is, but whoever it is, you've got one of those two on the right, you've got those two on the right side. Well, if the ball goes there every time, you're still struggling to get out, but Mainoo means that he's the guy who can go over there and make an angle and take the ball under pressure. And it's not about whether he's going to be the best player in the world or whatever, but it just seems like he's good enough to play for United for the next decade.
He is. I mean, McTominay, 22 passes today, which is like about his normal level, and he's barely involved in the game. And if he doesn't score, United are carrying a player. And I guess he's there to make the third man runs and score goals, as he does for Scotland and did in the recent international break. But the international game and the Premier League are just completely different, just so completely different. And I don't think that kind of physical impact that he has in international football really translates to the Premier League. He just looks very average, McTominay. And so finding a partner for Mainoo, if Mainoo is going to be one of the key central midfielders there, would be excellent. Problem is, we've got Eriksen not fit, Amrabat probably not good enough, Casemiro not fit and out of form for a year now, and there's not an obvious partner there.
Mount as well.
I forget Mount because we spent 60 million quid on him and still can't work out what the hell he was bought for.
So back to McT though, I know what you mean, that he's one thing doing it in internationals, but I also think if you put him in a Scotland level Premier League team and you had two defensive midfielders and him, he'd do similar stuff. If it's just McTominay, it's more a style thing, that the only way, the only way he would work properly in a United team is if you left out Bruno.
Yeah,
Because
pretty much. Yeah.
they're basically doing a similar job, obviously to very different levels and very different breadths, but they're doing the same thing. If you go and make McTominay a box to box attacking midfield player, and I mean West Ham might have been a good fit, probably not so much anymore now that they're with the players that now that they've got Kudus and Paquetá. But if you put him in a sort of 6th to 12th Premier League team, he'd be a good player for them because he'd be one of the better players, and that would mean that they could play to his strengths. Whereas United, they're sort of got him in the team to play to his strengths, but it's making them weaker because we're seeing first halves like that first half today.
Right.
And if you have a proper midfield, that just doesn't happen.
No, that's right. And we said, I mean, man, maybe Eriksen would work there in terms of giving United that kind of control, but again, he can't last a whole game, so it's something to solve. Ten Hag spoke about it in the week, spoke about having to meet FFP obligations, and obviously it was front of mind with what's happened at Everton, and United have been on the edge of that, although would be nowhere near it if our owner's put in as much equity as Everton's owner has blown on his club there. But it's, maybe there's a solution in the January window. We'll find out. There can't be much money though.
I would be surprised. I would say that if they can somehow, and I said like I want this to happen, if they can somehow get rid of Varane, then Uncle Jim might sell us Todibo. Yeah. I don't know.
Hey, we can loan him for free now, can't we? I mean, it's perfectly fine.
Yes. but back to McTee for a second again. I think one of the other reasons he's in the team is we're quite small.
Yeah.
And quite weak. What a fucking thing that is to say about Manchester United team. So especially with Varane, who wins everything at the back. Like in the air, Varane is so good in the air. And I think McTominay in the team is maybe you've got trying to find some physicality somewhere in a role where you don't actually have a natural fit in the squad. I guess when more people in midweek, I mean, I think it'll probably be the same team probably in midweek. Maybe one Bissaka at right back, but other than that, the same team. I would I would be playing Amrabat instead of McTominay. I think because there's enough quality elsewhere, so that I'd try and play someone that might help you
keep the ball. Yeah.
The problem is getting swamped.
Yeah.
And conceding goals that come out of bottling weakness. It's not getting outplayed really. And what I want to see more of that we sort of got towards in the second half today was winning games, not because we've got better individuals who link up nicely enough times a game to beat shit.
Yeah.
I want to see us put on a performance. And
right.
It's one of the things we keep saying is when he picks teams and we beat shit, we beat shit teams and we beat shit narrowly, it's good that you won and you're happy, but it's almost a little bit depressing because we're not any closer to being good than we were last week, just maybe a little bit of confidence. And we saw through those games where we were doing that, the confidence didn't really improve because the players knew.
Yeah. Funny thing today is I think during that second half, some of the pattern that I expected from Ten Hag's team kind of came about. And a lot of it was to do with, I mean, Mainoo lasted 75 minutes or something like that. A lot of it was to do with him being able to be the deepest player and start off United's attacking pattern. And then, as I said before, Maguire and Lindelof can split. Dalot could.
They fucking can.
Dalot can.
I'm saying it again.
Dalot could invert, and Rashford had loads of space. And you're like, okay, I get exactly what they're trying to do there. I see some pattern, which a lot of the last 2 months, when obviously Ten Hag's been trying to work out a solution to all these injuries, didn't feel right. And I don't want to pile too much on Mainoo and say, hey, he's the solution to everything. But it gave some real balance, and you go, okay, I kind of get what they're trying to do here. This looks like a team. And it wasn't perfect, but it improved as the game went on. And part of it we saw in that really excellent third goal, which was a great team goal and great finish.
Yeah, it didn't have to be Mainoo. It had to be it's just someone who can play that position,
right.
Particularly with no Martinez. because you can't pass the ball out if you've got no one that can receive or pass it.
Yeah.
And it didn't have to be Mainoo. It could have been anyone. It so happens that it's him and he's young and he's Mancunian and he's Ghanaian and he's good. But if you'd have gone and signed Frankie, he was meant to be that player.
Yes.
And part of me thinks that Ten Hag really, is he really trying to make Mainoo a 6 when he's an 8 because he wants his Frankie and he couldn't have him, so he's having this. But
a little bit.
But in a sense, I guess I'm hardwired with the football I grew up watching, so that I want an 8. I want Brian Robson, I want Paul Ince, and I want Roy Keane. I want that kind of player. But given how good the attackers we've got can be, and just how football works now, someone to play that position, if you've got someone that can just stand and be that guy for a long time, that probably going to have more impact on your team, because players that can control the game are really hard to find, whereas you can find workarounds for all action midfield players, probably. I don't know.
Yeah. What did you think of a lot of chat this season about Bruno's captaincy? I don't know. It seems to be a media narrative that doesn't really... I'm not sure the fans are talking about it in the same way, but he gave the ball to Marcus Rashford to take the penalty and then said afterwards, I was 100% sure he would score. Just felt like a moment to boost Marcus's confidence, maybe. So.
Which is all, yeah. When we got the penalty, I mean, even before that, I was thinking about us getting a penalty because of a bet I had put on various players to shoot and score. I didn't win because we didn't get a player booked, and Bruno didn't have a shot. Which I'm not sure how. Yeah, exactly. But anyway, and I thought that Rashford might take any penalty we got because he needs a goal.
Yeah,
and the stuff about Bruno as captain. The petulance, obviously, on the pitch looks a bit silly, but if you go and speak to the players in the dressing room, do you think Bruno Fernandes is a good bloke or a good captain?
I think they're all behind him.
I would imagine that almost all of them would say yes to both, because they know, first of all, that the main thing a captain has to do is play well all the time. And he doesn't play well all the time, but he plays well almost all of the time, more often than anyone else, and he's still good when he's not playing well, which is also a good characteristic. So I think he's doing that. Also, you can tell that in training, just from seeing the little clips and stuff, he's the one who's helping drive the competitiveness.
Yeah.
That is taking the piss out of people, just making it competitive and hard, and also enjoyable. I don't really care what such and such a person thinks of Bruno Fernandes' captaincy when they don't. I don't know. He's good at football. He's made the teams that he's led and not led much better.
Yeah,
I mean,
the
rest is fucking commentary.
Well, that's right. But I mean, it is all just nonsense. And hey, we're part of that nonsense, aren't we? But I think it was a nice move there. It wouldn't have been so good if Marcus hadn't scored, but he banged it in the top corner, so that was good too.
He's a good penalty taker.
Yeah, he is.
I got no point with either of them, really, do I sit there thinking they're likely to miss.
Yeah.
He's a good penalty taker, and he's one of those players, Rashford, that whatever we say about him, and there were still times today where you're like, there was a point quite close to the end where he's got the ball on the right, he loses it, and he just fucking stands there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, if in his defence, maybe he's been told to do that. I don't know. Maybe he's carrying a knock. There could be numerous reasons, but it still feels like he doesn't have enough of a dog about him all the time. And yet he is a killer, because when those opportunities like that to take a penalty in any circumstance presents itself, he wants the ball.
Yeah.
It's just a bit of a...
Yeah, no, I've not been able to put my finger on exactly what's wrong with Marcus this year. I mean, there is some just detail, but like that one where he gave the ball away at the end, and a couple other chances were one where he didn't find Bruno. Maybe it was good clearance by Tarkowski, although there's 50 yards of space to play the pass into there.
And Bruno would have scored, and that would have been my goal, and he would have then taken his shirt off celebrating
to get booked. And you would have come in, yeah.
This is what I'm thinking as this is happening.
Now we see the agenda. It's all financial for Dan.
Well, that's what they say.
Oh dear. Let's not get into that.
So I find him hard to read as a bloke.
Yeah.
And with all these footballers, we see them give so many interviews. We see them on the pitch with having the best and the worst experiences of their lives. Doesn't mean like you know them personally like we're boys, but with a lot of them, you feel like I've got quite a good read on what kind of bloke you are, on like what makes you tick, like who you just a sense of who they are. And I don't have that with so much with Marcus Rashford. So when I'm thinking about writing or talking about sport, also I always say that sport is simple, people are complicated.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm always trying to look at what's going on beyond the basic hitting, kicking, punching of balls and faces. And so you're looking at what is the human qualities involved in those kind of situations? What do I think is going on, the dynamics and all of that kind of stuff. And with Rashford, I find it really hard to get a read on him, which actually now I think about it was actually something that I heard coming out of United years ago, that the parts of management just found him unreachable. And it probably says as much about them as it does about him. It says anything, if it says anything about anyone. But when I think about how to improve him or whatever, or when you're thinking, what would I say to him if I was a manager or a mate or whatever, with him, I don't really know what the answer is, because he's so many opposites. Like, he's a killer, but he's a bit of a wimp. He's physical, but he doesn't
use it often enough.
Physicality. Yeah. He's got unbelievable imagination, and yet, why has he made that decision then?
Yeah.
And I don't know what it is with him, but I'm almost. I'll never be certain. But if he'd have been somewhere stable for these crucial years of his career,
yeah.
He'd be a much better player.
Oh, for sure. Imagine him at City. I know this is trite, but
yeah.
He would be much more consistent, and we'd be talking about him in a different way. I'm sure over the years, like every manager I've ever had, obviously different. I'm not a footballer, has always said I'm hard to read, and it's normally because there's not a lot of emotion involved, except the occasional look of disgust on my face, which people pick out. And I think there's probably some of that with Marcus as well.
I see that a lot.
He holds it back. And for whatever reason, and look, we know he's a good bloke. Like the other players like him.
I'm not criticising him at all.
Exactly. So we know that. But you're right, with the actual football part, not all of it comes together all of the time, and that's deeply. It is frustrating because he's a brilliant finisher. He's got that physicality. He can take a player on almost whenever he wants. He's a great passer of the ball, and he can make the real difference in big moments, and that's not happening this season. It happened last season. It didn't happen the season before that, or the season before that, and so you're putting that all together, and there are mitigating circumstances. He was injured for the best part of 18 months. Now I don't think that's the case, unless something's being hidden. There's something else going on with him that I think he's thinking. When I look at him, I think he's thinking too hard. And the best of Marcus is when all of that stuff comes together kind of instinctively. And he just seems to be all up inside himself a little bit. And I don't know why, whether there's something else going on that we just don't know or haven't heard about. I mean, apropos of this, or maybe nothing, he was pictured out with his ex-fiancée this week. So maybe he's got personal stuff going on, and that can affect us all, can't it? So. Yeah,
I think that the player I always think about when I think about Rashford is Raheem Sterling, because Rashford's got way more talent than Sterling does. He's physically better, he's faster, he's stronger. Like, there's not much I see that Sterling has done that Rashford at his best can't do better, actually. But the difference is right place, right time. Wrong place, wrong time, I think. And in case I wasn't clear before, like me saying I find him hard to read is not me criticising him.
Sure. Yeah.
Like, it's irrelevant. It means that I'm just trying to say it in terms of trying to understand why we see what we see from him, why these fluctuations appear. I don't know, but I'm hoping that we should get quite a lot better over the next 2 or 3 months, I think. The problem is obviously you've got to keep winning whilst improving, but he's going to be playing in a much better team, and he's going to have rivals for his place. He's already been shifted over to the other side, and that is a punishment. If Rashford was playing now, like he did last season,
that
he
wouldn't
would not
happen.
be rusticated to the right.
Yeah, I mean the funny thing is with all of this, United now won 5 and 6 in the Premier League at least, and I mean obviously they've lost almost half their games this season, which is not good, but now not that far behind fourth place. It's like 4 points or something, isn't it? And like somehow, or 6 points off the top, and somehow United are in touch despite having been dog shit for almost the entire season, which is incredible, really. Might say something about their, I don't know, either competitiveness or lack of quality of the Premier League this season, that we're managing to be in touch despite being crap. There are some really difficult games coming up, mind you. I mean, this is a big...
So there are loads of difficult games all the time because there are so many teams with so many players that can hurt you because of how much money is in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And the way United are now in the league says more about the people that were saying Ten Hag's got to go and all this kind of bullshit. For me, I've always felt the only danger was getting on a roll of defeats. You could see how it could spiral given the nature of the club and the nature of the players whilst we had all those injuries.
Right.
But people who wanted to judge a manager who'd been in the role, not a long time, but a year and a bit, on a spell of 2 months when he'd had probably the worst run of injuries that I can think of United having in the 40-odd years I've been watching them. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
They won a trophy not that long ago. We know that they were crap subsequently, but they still got to the cup final and still made sort of a game of it. Like not something I enjoy saying, but you could see the improvements. Then what you're almost saying is, well, actually, fire him because he signed Mason Mount. Because there was all this talk about the signings were crap as well, and that was also based on nothing.
Yeah.
So I worried that we could go on a spiral, but we managed to win tight games. And the reason is because the reason there was nonsense in the first place. There are just too many good players to not win games.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
and now with some of those like injuries, I mean, Mount's obviously out for a month. Not that he's made much of a difference, but Martinez is back in training. I presume I hope, touch wood, they will be really careful with him. He's one of the few impact injuries. I mean, he broke a metatarsal for the second time. And I presume because of that, they'll be very careful with him, but he's back in training. We'll see him soon, which is going to be just excellent, just both from a quality of defending perspective and the build up. But the rest of them are like muscle injuries. And it's too many to be a coincidence. And there's too much chatter going around that the intensity of the training was part of this. And I just wonder whether coming through this we'll have learnt a lesson a little bit about just how intense they're going to be. We'll see, because this week Ten Hag was talking about the schedule being the problem. I mean, it is a problem, but still everyone's problem, isn't it? And maybe we'll learn a lesson about just how much pressure we're putting on these players, or how much physical pressure we're putting on these players. And with the key players coming back, we'll be better and fitter, hopefully. And that few months of some terrible results can be forgotten. And we're fortunate enough to be in touch. And come the spring, hopefully, touch wood, we're a much better team and in a really good position to make sure we qualify for Europe. So,
yeah, I would say like we could easily lose the next 2 games, but it won't change the fact that you can see that how the team's going to get better and should get better quite quickly. It doesn't mean that Ten Hag is good enough to start winning the big pots, but it means that I haven't run out of hope that he might be able to do that,
right,
because I can see where it's going. And if nothing else, it shouldn't take that long for him to have 11 really good players in the same team.
Right.
It feels like that shouldn't be more than, say, 2 or 3 windows away of having enough good players to make a football team of good players. And then you see how that goes, and obviously you see what he does with it. But at this point, yeah, there's no sense that he's run out of time. And
yeah, having
Shaw back today is another one.
It's such a bonus. Yeah, just so much balance there, the ability to drive forward and allow Garnacho for this game to come inside as well, just create the overloads. Yeah, just
it's no coincidence that Rashford's lack of productivity has coincided with his absence.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Like they have a good partnership, and whenever people were dissing whoever was playing on the right, one of the things that you'd always say in their defence was they don't have Luke Shaw behind them.
Yeah.
And it does make a difference. He'll never be totally reliable. You're never exactly sure when he might drop a bollock or fall asleep or whatever. But in general, he's good enough to play for this United team at this moment and be important. And it's always good to see like the results of another phenomenal head diet that he's been on in the time he's been away.
What could happen, and we don't know this yet because none of the details have been confirmed yet, but in the window, United, the new partial owners could inject up to 105 million in equity, and it have no impact on the FFP position. Now, we already know that there's something like 250 million has been kind of ring fence for infrastructure improvements, but the other equity could be put in place if United want to go spend on players to, as you were saying, get towards having 11 good players on the pitch all at the same time. So it's possible. It's possible. We haven't confirmed it yet. It definitely wouldn't happen under the Glazers because it's never happened in 18 years of ownership. Not once, ever, not a penny. But with the new guy coming in, Big Sir Jim, it may well happen, and we might get towards that, having a good team a bit earlier. It'd be worth it. I mean, it cost United about 105 million not making the Champions League in revenue, at least. So if that's what United need in order to make sure they're in that top four, maybe five,
almost definitely five.
Yeah, well, if you took a snapshot right now, Spain, it's like they're a couple of .2 ahead on the coefficient, but we obviously haven't played out the whole season. You'd kind of expect City to do well. It's just, with United and who else?
Liverpool in the Europa as well.
Yeah, Liverpool in Europa counts for less. Newcastle not doing very well in the Champions League. So it depends. Spain have 8 out of 8 across the competitions. If they all do well, it could be England are overtaken and we wouldn't get that 5th spot, but it's obviously not played out.
I think at no point during United being shit this season did I think we won't finish definitely top 5 and probably top 4, because the teams that United are competing for those spots with aren't good enough to win every week, to go away by enough. Like your Tottenhams, your Villas. Villa have got some really good players, and they're a team that with a way that works, but they're not good enough to play at Championship form, which means that United would have to really fall miles away to not be able to catch them. Newcastle's again are just balancing Europe. I guess we don't want them to finish bottom of that group. Could do with like losing them to the Europa.
Yeah.
So they've got to trudge through Thursdays.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be unfortunate if United finished 5th by a fraction, and I don't know, Real Madrid won the Champions League and Barcelona are in the final 2, and one of the other Spanish teams wins the Europa and the Conference League, and then we miss out. But
so would you take? Okay, would you take City retaining the Champions League against Real Madrid if it meant that United qualified for next season's Champions League?
No, I mean, although it is important, obviously, for the club to be there, but no.
Something I enjoyed today when Garnacho was coming off at half time, obviously the cameras are zooming in on him after he scored the goal of his life, and he gozzes and he can't get it out. It sort of ends up like on himself, but it's just, yes, this is how the world should be. You score that goal, but also you goz on yourself.
It's funny, on the Football Cliches pod a couple of weeks ago, they were talking about that, how footballers are so practiced on spitting perfectly, but if you try it yourself, so you do that all the time. Like, it goes everywhere. So, the wind's in your face on Hackney Marshes or whatever, but it's,
No, so to me, this is just like, what were you doing in the playground if not practicing like a footballer? Like the Brian McClare in our playground, that was like a thing. Like, Luke, a boy in my class, was really proficient at snot rockets, and that was because we saw Brian McClair do it.
We were too busy seeing who could piss the highest up the wall in the toilets. But yeah.
And Paul Ince could do the double one. So he'd sort of hold both nostrils from above and do them both at the same time. And he was working on that.
Wow. Just I've seen a few kids. My younger one, 6-year-old, was in a team this season, and we saw quite a few kids doing the various celebrations, arm in the air like this, the Ronaldo thing, and all of that. But I didn't see any of them practice doing a big gob. Maybe they should.
Yeah, so you should really, if you've watched football growing up, there's no excuse for not being
good at it.
Efficient at being like a footballer, I would say. Yeah.
All right, should we move on? Galatasaray Tuesday? I think it's Tuesday. I don't know. I guess United.
No, it's Wednesday.
Wednesday. United, pretty much have to win. In order, it depends on other results. Well,
no, that's not true.
Right, because we're going to assume Galatasaray will lose their last game. So
no, we're going to assume, I guess, that Bayern are going to beat Copenhagen.
Yeah,
maybe they don't, but 2 draws wouldn't be enough for us. But a draw and a win.
All right,
a draw with Galatasaray and a win would be
a win against
another
Bayern
4
in
points.
a dead rubber. Yeah,
Galatasaray would then with Galatasaray then have to beat Copenhagen to go through. That would give them 4 points as well.
Yeah. So if we say
it's out of our hands then.
Bayern already qualified, no one can catch it on 12 points. Copenhagen on 4, Galatasaray on 4, we're on 3, and the rest of it's goal difference. So assume Copenhagen lose to Bayern, right, which is Bayern at home in that one. They'll be on 4 points. If we get a point, we'd be on 4 points. Galatasaray would be on 5, and we would have to beat Bayern in order to, even if Galatasaray lose their last game, we'd have to beat Bayern by enough, because a draw wouldn't be good enough, basically. So if
we've scored a lot of goals, so I think if anything comes down to goal difference, we're okay. But the head-to-head with Galatasaray is obviously not good unless we beat them.
Yeah, it's
fucking unbelievable how many goals we've scored and conceded to have 3 points in this group. It really is.
9 goals scored, it's tough. A victory in this game would make things a lot easier, obviously.
If we win this game, I would say we'll probably be. That'll probably be enough, because that'd be 6 points, and then the other 2 that we'd need a point probably against Bayern.
Yes, because if Galatasaray
beat the head-to-head, would then be in our favour over both the other 2.
Yeah.
So we should win this game. I don't particularly trust the players to go there and play with moxie necessarily. I'd like to have Casemiro for this one with Mainoo in midfield. That'd be the midfield I would want. But there's no reason whatsoever why this team should not score at least twice in that game. And no reason whatsoever why they should concede twice, but they might concede 4.
Yeah, well, let's hope not. Galatasaray scored 4 yesterday against Lannaspor, but they had lost their previous 2 games. So it's not a great Galatasaray side, even though there's an awful lot of familiar players. They're second in the Super League at the moment against Fenerbahce, who are top. Icardi scoring, Zaha scored at the weekend as well, and Mertens. So all 3 of their big recruits this summer.
They've got players that can fuck you up. They do. They're all good players, those, and they're not past it yet. They're obviously not at their peak, but they're more than healthy enough to be able to give you a hard time, and our defence is unreliable. But we have better players than they do. So it's just about whether we can impose our better players on them, and whether the players have the composure to go and play the way Ten Hag wants them to play in that environment in a game that matters.
Yeah.
We've no idea. It's weird because we know that there are players in that team that have done it repeatedly in big games.
Yeah.
But as a collective, they're the crumbliest, flakiest chocolate.
Well, we do. Yeah, they're going to have to put it all together. That's important. Manage the crowds. We know that already. It's kind of almost cliche at this point, isn't it? They managed the crowd today, supposedly, and angry Everton We never really saw much of that, did we?
They love booing those Everton. There's no ground boos like Goodison Park.
The thing, I tweeted this out. They boo with a Scouse inflection. I don't know how it's possible. I couldn't do it. So can you put a Scouse boo on? But they do. You're like, oh, it's a Scouse boo.
Somewhere on the internet, and I've not been able to properly find the one that I was after, but I have found a couple of other iterations that on my Twitter, if anyone's into this weird shit like I am, there are videos of people not going boo, but going fucking boo.
That's great.
It's so good. Fucking boo. Yeah.
Sorry, kids. I always get complaints when we swear too much. Sorry, we feed off each other. But yes, that is brilliant. There was a lot of talk before.
That's allowed because that's a quotation.
Yeah, so exactly.
If I'm writing in copy, I can swear. I can't usually swear in my copy, but if I'm quoting, I'm allowed.
That's the Guardian rules, isn't it?
I do apologise to those offended. I know that it's weird because I know that I do swear a lot, but also I guess that's because people that I've been around speak like that, and yet I am capable of not speaking like that because I don't speak like that I don't speak like that at home, except with pop.
It's throughout my working career. When I've been in the UK, I've always been in offices where it's really sweary, just really, really sweary, and so I definitely feed off that. In the US, it's not really accepted, especially the C word and
cursing.
Yeah,
no cussing and no cursing.
No, not really. And my little one, he asked me this week, "There's a C word that's really bad. What is it?" And I was like, no, I'm not telling you that. Yeah, city, that's it. Yeah. If I ever hear you say that, you're out.
My daughter, I would say, has heard me swear a handful of times, probably.
Well, our rule is you can hear it, you can't say it. They don't really follow that one, which is really bad. But, yeah.
But, I mean, obviously there are times when only a swear word will do. There's a book, one of my favourite novels, called Carter Beats the Devil by Glenn David Gould. And you don't realise that there hasn't been any swearing in the novel until a few hundred pages in, someone swears. And you're like, yeah, this is a bad situation that they're in now. I don't think I've ruined that. I mean, the book is probably best part 20 years old, so truth's out there.
But one of the best sweary moments, of course, was this year where Mary Earp saved that penalty in the World Cup final, and that's just a fabulously foul-mouthed celebration afterwards, where even if you couldn't hear it, you knew exactly what she was saying.
Yeah, and then I guess you say, well, when you're in that situation, then you're allowed to do that. But I would say, yeah, I mean, it feels, I don't totally understand why it would be bothersome either way if it's not used in an offensive manner, as in it's used as an intensifier in order to better articulate what you're saying, the point that you're making, or to the rhythm of speech or whatever it might be.
Someone complained on YouTube this week. By the way, folks, I post these on YouTube now. Go subscribe, please. Smash that subscribe button, I think we're supposed to say. Someone complained this week that I make political points in a really smug way. I was like, I mean, I don't know if it's smug. Not arrogant, just better.
This is sort of a problem that the right have with the left, that the left has with itself, because if you think that the right stands for capital and the left stands for using capital to look after the most vulnerable, if that's what you believe in, then you're going to be extremely confident that you are right in a moral sense. Whereas the other is more of a practical thing. That, let's say that without judging it, that's how you think that if capitalist ideology makes the world run better, but that's not a moral position. So you can't then find yourself in a situation where you feel smug for what you believe in. You might feel smug about what you own, but if you're making points about looking after the most vulnerable people in society and trying to be nice and that kind of thing, then yeah, it probably it probably is easy to see why you would come over as smug, particularly to someone who doesn't think those things. And good, in fact, fucking good.
Yeah. Yes. I mean, we're all contradictions, aren't we? Yeah. No listener will be surprised that politically I'm on the left and I work in venture capital. So yeah, how do those things work together? So yeah. Also, awesome. Many contradictions in the United team as well, and I just hope they manage to pull it all together for this one. It would be a real shame if United didn't have any European football after this week, basically, because if we lose, that's pretty much. I think that's us done. Not guaranteed, but
would you not guaranteed? If we lose to Galatasaray.
And Bayern beat Copenhagen, it'll be tough. We'd have to win comfortably. No. So,
hang on. If we lose to Galatasaray, we're fucked because
they'll be on 6 points.
They'd have 4 more points. They'd be on 7 because they got 4.
Oh, they got 4. Yeah, they got 4. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. If we lose,
we're done then. Yeah. Yes.
Would you take?
What's the situation?
Do you want Europa? Europa or not?
I mean, kind of no, because these players feel like they could really do with having a few midweeks off, but it's definitely good for the club to continue in Europe, and it does make money. Not nearly as much as the Champions League, but it's still like £5 million a game, plus the winning bonuses and so on. So it's good for the club, and it's also a trophy United could shoot for. So I guess on balance of all those, I'd say yes, Europa. I've had enough of that competition. In the back of your mind, knowing that there was always the possibility of losing the final to Liverpool. Oh God, that'd be sick enough. But the thing is, with the Champions League, I know United going out, the first good team we face. So, I mean, if we get through in this group, we're going to face a group winner, likely one of the better teams, and we could well get dumped out the next game anyway.
Maybe, but I bet there are a few group winners that you would actually quite fancy.
Yeah.
But the problem is, I guess, is you won't actually end up, if City are going to run their group, if Arsenal win their group as well, then you can't have the teams that have finished behind them that you would quite like to have.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't have all the groups in front of me. I was just checking now, so I don't know. We'll work it out after this week, and we'll see where we are.
You don't want Real Madrid particularly. We beat Barcelona last season. We could beat Barcelona. I think that this team, if they play well, they can beat almost anyone over 2 legs, I would say. But there's a lot of ifs. And there will be a lot of ifs until they've shown themselves to be regularly reliable in big games. Mm-hmm. But it's nice having Mainoo in the team, who's someone who's not tarnished by any of this bullshit.
Right.
And clearly just thinks he can do it.
Yeah.
And he's just gone and played his natural game. There's no... he did all the things that he wanted to do with the ball. He wasn't conservative. And the more of those players who aren't tainted by the collapses that you can have, the better for you.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. All right. I think that's about it. United women's team won again today, and after being Liverpool midweek, hopefully they're back. And the United's men's team, massive game this week. And touch wood, it's all coming together. I'm not gonna get too giddy after one game, but there were signs there, I think.
Please.
Is part of the Sports Social Podcast Network.